The folks who live on the internet need to understand what we do here. In the crafting of legislation, this is a process and not an event. It had to pass the House, it had to pass the committee, it'll have to pass the House, it'll have to go across the hall, and there'll be changes along the way. And at the end of the day, the governor will have to make a decision to sign or veto. Hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, you will vote overwhelmingly to send this bill forward. And if you say you're Second Amendment a proponent, then I urge you to stand up and vote for this bill.
The process of getting a law passed is rather complicated, and I'm not even going to attempt to say I know how it all works. I've actually never even been to downtown Atlanta to see how it works. What part I understand is that a bill is either put in the hopper in the Senate or the House, and then read, and they put it into one of the committees. Well, the committees have meetings. In those meetings, the people from all over the state can come in and read or can talk to the representatives about what they like about the bill, just as if you called them. It's in front of the whole committee. Then the bill is passed or rejected by the committee, and they can also be changed in committee. They will do amendments in the middle of the committee. After that, it usually goes to a rules committee who decides if it gets voted on the floor. On the floor, you have the whole of the House or the Senate, according to which one it starts in, gets to vote. If it passes, it moves to the other one and goes through the whole process again. When passed in both, then the governor has to sign off on it or reject it. But here's some people that are actually down there talking about how the system works and do a lot better job than I can.
Chair recognizes the chairman of the Public Safety and Homeland Security Committee, Chairman Alan Powell. 20 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm going to allocate a portion of that 20 minutes to the Rules Chairman, and I'm just going to speak. We've heard of a lot of passionate dialogue here this afternoon. And you know, there's nothing good about violence. I'm going to give you a thought. If there were no guns, if there was no violence, if there were no bad people, if there were no sex abusers or child abusers out there, I'd be on my hands and knees and I'd push a peanut up I-85 to the South Carolina line. But you know what? That's not the way it is in the real world. Look up there in that gallery. You see all those people up there with badges? Those are the people who are there to protect us. But you know what? They can't always protect us. They can't always protect us. I'm not going to get into dialogue about the Second Amendment because everybody knows the Second Amendment. It always has been a source of humor to me. When I hear people, first thing comes out of the mouth, I'm for Second Amendment rights, but. Well, you know, tell me about the buts. Tell me about the point when bad people come after your family, or after you, or your children, or God forbid, my grandchildren. You know, I've never thought of myself as a bad person. I've never tried to tell people about where my graveyards were. But let me tell you something. I've got a right to defend myself and those that I love just as you do. I want to talk about the process. You know, I got a little, as you know, I can be testy, but I'm not apologizing today. But I did make a comment to some folks that are very close to me about the Minority Report. I understood when I read all the points that was put into the Minority Report about why they were opposed, but one particularly struck a nerve to me. One struck a nerve that said that this committee had not properly vetted this issue in this bill. Well, I take that as an insult. And I want to say this to my friends on the minority side. Don't forget, I came from y'all once upon a time. And I understand and I live by the philosophy that every person has a right to be heard. And I'm going to tell you something. If you don't think that everybody had a right to be heard, then talk to the 15 committee members. Talk to those 15 committee members that sat through hours and hours and hours of testimony. Quite frankly, it almost got redundant to the point that it scared me when I heard people talk about the idea of what a great Christian world we live in, and that we don't need firearms or any type of weapons. You do need them in certain times. I want to talk about this bill real quick. First, I want to thank some other people. I want to thank the ladies, the admins that work with our committee, Leg Council, all those people. Particularly, I want to thank the two ladies that work in my office over there that's had to field the emails and the phone calls, because it's been quite a learning experience. You know, part of the people can't read the English language, obviously, from some of their questions. A lot of them were constitutional attorneys. And quite frankly, there was an awful lot of people who were just very sincere about their rights. Nothing out of the ordinary, but their rights to protect themselves. But I want to thank them, and I want to tip my hat to them for the great job they did. I want to tip my hat to the committee members. You were very professional. You listened through the debate on every bill, and we did what we had said 3 weeks ago. We rolled up all the bills that were put in and crafted a piece of legislation thanks to Representative Jaspers and Chairman Meadows. We dealt with issues in this bill that even myself, I thought at first, you know, churches, college campuses. But I have to tell you, the predominance of the weight of this is based on if you're 21. If you're 21 years of age, that you're not a convicted criminal, that you're not one of those people out there that are suspect, if you have not, in the standard on the mental health, has been basically involuntary commitment and this other range of crimes, you're an adult. You're responsible for your actions. So then, once you go through those hoops and hurdles, then you get a license. That's it. Private property rights. Hold your nose about churches. Hold your nose about restaurants. Hold your nose about the various things. But let me tell you something. The Second Amendment right stops where the Fourth Amendment property rights starts. You can carry your weapon where you want if you're licensed, but you can't take it on someone's private property without their permission. And we set up the process. The laws that were on the books were very illogical, and this brings logic to it, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks to these two gentlemen here, and thanks to the committee that had to hear this. I'm going to step aside and I'm going to let Representative Chairman Meadows speak on this, but I would ask you for your consideration, as I had said this more than one time to the many folks, the many emails, positive, negative, and whatever, that out there in the hitherlands, the folks who live on the internet need to understand what we do here. In the crafting of legislation, this is a process and not an event. It had to pass the House, it had to pass the committee, it'll have to pass the House, it'll have to go across the hall, and there'll be changes along the way. And at the end of the day, the governor will have to make a decision to sign or veto. Hopefully, ladies and gentlemen, you will vote overwhelmingly to send this bill forward. And if you say you're Second Amendment a proponent, then I urge you to stand up and vote for this bill. And I relinquish the well to Chairman Meadows.
The chair recognizes the chairman of the Rules Committee for the final word. Chairman Meadows.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of the House, you know, it's rare for me to come up here. I feel like sometimes that I might put too much pressure on you if I introduce a lot of bills. Because one, I never forget nothing. And it's taken me a long time to learn to forgive some people. I've got newspaper articles and a 22-minute speech up here. I've got the bill. I think that it's probably appropriate for me just to give you the background. Back in October, Mr. Jaspers and I, we share a district. We met, and I was told this morning that they were surprised that I've got something to do with this. Y'all, I've been here 68 and a half years. In my life, we've gone through some tough times. Civil rights, Vietnam. We're in tough times now. We met and we decided that we might try to chip away and to take somebody's statement that Ronald Reagan wanted, if he offered something, if he got 70 to 80% of it, he would be thankful and try to come back and get the other 20 or 30. Y'all, I want 20 or 30. We can come back. Chip away. Your rights have been chipped away little by little for a long, long time. Needless to say, Mr. Jaspers and I are not we're not attorneys, praise the Lord. So we had to have some help. And we came up with a basic idea, and I'll just tell you, we contacted Georgia Carey. We contacted Georgia Carey. They have done an excellent job in giving us guidance, and if you think this bill has what Georgia Carey wants in it, you better get in the hall and talk to them, because it don't. They've given us some ideas. They've helped us. We then got legal counsel, and I took it to the Speaker's office. Look this over. Again, this has been going on since October. Look this over. I need guidance. As y'all all have learned over the last 3 years, I am not the brightest star in the sky. I have to have help. I would suggest that some of y'all get help. We talk about part of this bill, me and the mental part of it. After 1 year down here, I suggest that maybe you all have a few problems. There's got to be something wrong with you to come down here and continually get beat up when you're trying to do the people's business. But some of us like it. Some of us have been here a long time. And I appreciate those that were here before me. But I kind of get a nod that, you know, that's a pretty good bill. What did we do with that bill? Being one of those that realized that until the last day when the big boy signs it, it doesn't mean anything anyway. We took it to the governor's staff. Met with them, offered any improvements, anything you want to change. Does the governor like this bill? He likes part of it. I would hope that most of y'all like part of it. took it to public safety, we've had about 7 versions of this bill. We've been adding over the last 3 weeks, and when I say that, let me just stop and say, I owe him a debt of gratitude. I owe the Speaker's staff a debt of gratitude. I owe the Governor's staff a debt of gratitude. And I owe the Board of Regents a debt of gratitude. Because we took it to them. Input. We want your input. We know you can't like the bill. We know you can't like the bill. There are other states whose boards of regents and whose technical schools have become involved. And that door is still open, ladies and gentlemen. That door is open. But we've come up with what we think is a good bill. We closed a lot of the gaps. Are there a lot of gaps out there? Yes, there is. Particularly for those of us who do believe in the Second Amendment. I loved Mary Margaret's thing on Tombstone, my favorite movie in all the world. I'll be your huckleberry. But you know what happened to all of those Earps, don't you? The dadgum bad guys killed most of them with their guns. I wish that all of you could have seen the testimonies that were held for 4.5 hours in public safety, if it wasn't vetted enough, where everybody against this bill got to talk. The best testimony was given by a Georgia Tech student that was afraid to go to class. The best testimony is given by Rick's daughter, who lives in the same building I do and has to walk to Georgia State, and she's armed with some mace. Give me a break. Who can carry a gun? Which student can carry a gun? He's got to be, she's got to be 21 years old. They're not a freshman that's coming to the local fraternity party and getting drunk and shooting the lights out. This is not the Wild Wild West. You got to be 21 years old. Does that matter? There's another little thing in there that nobody's mentioned. Military personnel. You're willing? My country is willing to send an 18-year-old kid to Afghanistan. But he can't carry a gun. He's better trained on more weapons than anybody in the room. I think it's all right for him to carry one. We do talk about our colleges, and we did give, I felt like we did, there's not a member of the Board of Regents, nor a member of the technical schools that is elected. The tail does not wag the dog. That's against the rules. Y'all remember that you're not supposed to clap in here. If you can tell that I'm for this bill, I appreciate that. I've said it last night and I'll tell y'all today, I don't take myself very seriously. I hope that you don't take yourselves very seriously. But I do take this job seriously. And I hope that you do. And with that, I'll end with one statement. At the beginning of every 2-year period, if you are re-elected or newly elected, it says, I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support the Constitution of this state and of the United States. So help me God, vote yes.
The chairman has yielded the will. Shall this bill now pass? All those in favor of the passage of House Bill 512 will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines on the passage of House Bill 512. The ayes are 117, the nays are 56. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed.